several $1 million, that's the loss Putin's army suffered because of this drone. Fast, maneuverable, and extremely fierce. Hor in the sky won't let a single target slip by. In just one flight, it takes out a whole bunch of equipment. The Russians hold their breath, waiting for the danger to pass, but it's all in vain. It finds the enemy everywhere. How does this combat bird manage to scour the front line and reap its harvest? You'll hear all the details in our report right now.
They're preparing it for flight. They check all the wings and the tail, and then place it on the catapult. A few minutes later, the drone is already hidden in the sky, flying toward the enemy. Now all control is handled from underground.
The aircraft is now gaining altitude and at the same time heading toward the Russians.
It is designed for reconnaissance and artillery adjustment. The UAV can stay in the air for about 3 hours and fly up to 150 kilometers.
If everything we found in the air, well, on the ground, was struck at that moment, I think we could have already ended this war. Well, in one flight we find 3 or 4 artillery pieces. Sometimes the movement of vehicles is just insane. Pickups, buggies, motorcyclists. But unfortunately, we don't have the means in such quantities.
The task for the UAV Hor crew right now is to look for artillery positions or enemy movements.
I'm the operator. Well, I handle the camera, the payload. I control the camera. This is the pilot. He controls the UAV itself. Some its direction, how it will fly. We also have 2 more people, you could say. 1 driver, 1 technician who handles the catapult.
This particular crew has been working together in this lineup for 3 months now.
I was in the infantry. I ended up here after being wounded.
I've been at war since 2021. I was the driver of the Fury crew. Then things turned out in such a way that I became a crew member in this brigade.
Here, everyone has learned something new for themselves. Their commander Abbat, for example, was a dental technician in civilian life.
Honestly, I don't even know if I want to go back to that field.
Now his task is to save the lives of the infantry, because the faster they find the target, the more lives will be saved.
Our task is to prevent, as quickly as possible, for example, the enemy's Grad multiple rocket launcher system from reaching a firing position.
But the enemy skillfully hides their equipment. However, the Horia is equipped with both a day and a night camera, which gives an advantage in spotting targets better with the thermal imager.
Yes, now, from the tree line, it's hard to make out because, for example, if it's still standing in the shade, covered with branches, and camouflaged with nets. It's difficult to determine exactly what it is. After all, they're not fools either. They also have electronic warfare equipment. They know that we're above them.
Right now, the soldiers of the 68th Jaeger Brigade are positioned in the Pokrovsk direction and can clearly see how the enemy is burning down city after city.
We're flying over Myrnorod right now. The center of Myrnorod. If you look over there, you can see there isn't a single building left intact. And most likely, that's where the cabs just struck.
Here on the front line, even though Istanbul is far away, there is still talk about negotiations.
No one knows when all this will end, of course. Or how. It's good that at least there are some talks happening.
And here, it's clear to see that the enemy doesn't let up for a moment.
To be honest, everyone really hopes that this will all end very soon. But well, everyone understands that it probably won't be that way.
From Donetsk region, Tetiana Demuk, Mikhailo Holovnenko, and Oleksiy Ksandruk. We are Ukraine, the United News Marathon.
Every voice matters. Join our community, support independent journalism, and help us bring you the truth from Ukraine. Become a member of Ukraine today. Join us now.
A super weapon for the armed forces of Ukraine hits its target on the first try and disappears before the enemy even has time to blink. It will definitely shake up the front. The French Caesar, that very beast, has been tamed by our forces. Putin's army is openly afraid of it. This system strikes far, accurately and quickly. What is the secret to its successful operation? We'll tell you in just a moment.
These self-propelled artillery units are among the best in the world. They are maneuverable, automated, rapid firing, and precise.
A big advantage is the wheeled chassis because thanks to it, the system is extremely maneuverable. Then there's the high rate of fire and the ability to use navigation equipment, which in turn allows the system to take up a firing position in just a few minutes.
We're talking about the French Caesar self-propelled artillery units, which have become an integral part of the Ukrainian armed forces since 2022. And Ukrainian soldiers rate its effectiveness extremely highly.
The firing range allows us to strike enemy artillery at any distance from the front line, no matter where they position themselves.
If we're talking specifically more about self-propelled artillery, this is the best we've been given.
And now there will be several times more of them. France has promised to deliver to Ukraine all the Caesar self-propelled artillery systems that will be produced in 2025. And that's about twice as many as have been delivered throughout the entire full-scale war. After all, France plans to produce 12 systems per month, which means that over the course of a year, 144 self-propelled artillery systems will be made, and all of them will go to Ukraine.
We can recall that France was the first to provide us with wheeled tanks, the AMX, and that France has always advocated for worldwide support for Ukraine. And while other countries were still getting organized, we were already receiving French weapons, French ammunition, and French equipment for conducting combat operations. So this is a completely logical step, a completely understandable step. It's an unexpectedly pleasant move, but overall not very surprising.
But such a number of Caesars also means a huge sum for them. One French self-propelled artillery unit costs about 5 million euros. 144 will cost 720 million euros. I don't even want to calculate that in hryvnias. So who will pay for them?
Various sources of funding are currently being used to pay for these self-propelled artillery units, including partially from frozen or seized Russian assets and partially from other countries. This has been mentioned repeatedly by the German Minister of Defense as well as by the presidential advisor and former minister Alexander Kamishin, who said that we will attract funds from foreign investors specifically to pay for the weapons that will be produced both for Ukraine and in Ukraine itself, because our own resources are clearly insufficient.
We've sorted out the money issue. Now it's time to talk about something positive. Besides the obvious advantage of the self-propelled artillery systems themselves, this transfer could also mean that Europe has started to take the Russian threat seriously and realizing that if Ukraine does not hold out, the EU will be Putin's next target.
Self-propelled artillery systems in 2025 or even 2026 will be delivered to the armed forces of Ukraine, and this clearly indicates that this will push forward all other contracts, with the needs of the Ukrainian armed forces being prioritized first and foremost. This once again shows how seriously both France and Europe as a whole are taking this, since so far there is no information either in court records or in requirements regarding Russian aggression. The European Union is slowly waking up, and perhaps not even that slowly.
And this is extremely important news. It would have been better if it happened earlier, not in the 4th year of the full-scale war. But better late than never. The only question now is when the new Caesars will arrive. Will they be delivered monthly or all at once in a single batch at the end of 2025 or the beginning of 2026? There is no answer to this question yet. But is it even necessary to have one? It's better to keep such information secret so that the occupiers can fully experience the whole range of emotions. So to speak from Paris with love or see the Caesar and die.
That's all from me. This was me, Darina Hutsakalo. Even more hellish news from the front in our next episode. And in the meantime, don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. See you.